My name is Robert Demings. I am a travel x-ray tech. I've been an x-ray tech for 5 years now and traveling for the last 3 with several agencies, but of course Atlas is my favorite. Sarah specifically, my recruiter, my favorite recruiter and agency to travel with. I met Sarah, actually she called me one day out of the blue, and our first conversation was dang near 2 hours on a almost 3-hour commute home that day. And we just started talking. I was in a contract and I wasn't sure if I was going to extend or not. She's quickly become my go-to when I have questions regarding the travel life or how agency might interact with this issue or that. So a lot of people look at the pros, and top of the list for them is money. And while that is high on the list for a lot of reasons, obviously, for me, the top of the list for me is the experience. You can get so many different experiences as a travel tech that you wouldn't normally receive. I've run full OR rotations as a traveler. I've done nothing but portables. The biggest thing is being able to be in those different situations. I live in Southwest Georgia. We don't have a whole lot of high-level trauma facilities. We don't do a whole lot of high-level ped stuff. So working with Atlas and traveling, I've been able to go to Penn State, which is level 1 trauma, level 1 peds. I've gone to UNC in North Carolina, again, level 1 trauma, level 1 peds, facilities that I wouldn't normally have access to unless I was traveling. And I drive to and from Atlanta every day. It's a 2-hour, 45-minute each way commute. And I do that 5 days a week, and I love it. But I like to drive. It gives me that time to decompress. And of course, the top of the cons list is the time I have to spend away from my family. I do have small children, and I miss the time that I would normally get to spend with them. But this allows me an opportunity to put myself in a better position to where I can spend a lot more time with them in the future. Of all of the recruiters I've had, and I've had a fair few, Sarah is the most consistent. If she says she's going to do something, it's going to get done. I don't have to remind her. I don't have to keep calling her. I ask her a question. Robert, I don't have an answer for you. I'll get one. I'll get back to you. I know I'm not her only recruiter, but not her only traveler, but sometimes it feels like I am. Like she treats us that well. And I know I'm not the only one she treats this way. But we'll call just to catch up on the families. She calls and checks on my kids. I call and check on her and her family, make sure they're doing okay. And we're friends. We're friends. I've never met her. I've never shaken her hand, but we're friends. And I haven't had that with any of my other recruiters, and it's refreshing. The hardest thing for me was learning which questions to ask. And this is something that Sarah has really helped on. And I'm gonna come back to her on just about every question because she's that good. But Sarah's also a traveler herself. So she's been on both sides of it. She knows what we're going to get into. So now, before I sign a contract, I know that I need to ask about holidays. Are they going to make me work a holiday, or do I have to work X number of holidays? Or are they just going to schedule me off altogether, whether it's within my scheduled shift or not? How is that going to affect my stipends and my pay? The resources that she's given me, and the things that she's taught me just in the 2 contracts that I've worked with Atlas have been absolutely invaluable. To a first-time traveler, I would say, do not settle for the first recruiter that comes your way. I took the first contract at the facility I wanted to be in that got offered to me, and it was with a larger agency that I don't particularly care to travel with anymore, and I haven't since. But that recruiter I spoke to one time, and that's not enough, you know. And then I had to speak to somebody else for this, or somebody else for that, somebody else for this. Some agencies will bounce you around from person to person, and some agencies like Atlas you'll deal with one person for the most part. Sometimes you have to deal with compliance, someone with compliance, but for the most part with Atlas, I dealt with Sarah. So if you don't feel super comfortable straight off the bat with your first recruiter, don't sign with it. You know, maybe you'll find your own Sarah somewhere else, but I don't think you will, because there's only the one. So Atlas, for me at first, was Sarah. Then it's veteran owned. Being an Army vet myself, that's a big thing. Then the Atlas Adventure came into play, and that was great. You know, hey, you don't have to take it right now, but sit on it, you know, and have your adventure. So Atlas paid for my wife and I to go on our anniversary trip last year. The way Atlas handles the contracts is so much more streamlined than other agencies. And for me, that's a big thing, because I get distracted pretty easily. I think on my last contract with Atlas, I got emails from two people. One of them was Sarah, you know. So, but then the recruiters, and not just Sarah, but, you know, Kelly Peters. I've dealt with Kelly also. When Sarah was out, my calls would go to Kelly, and I knew that if I had a question, I would get an answer. I want to go home one more time. I want to go back to El Paso. I haven't been to El Paso in probably 10 years. That's where my heart is. I was born and raised there. And I say I want to go home one more time before I die, because I know I'll probably never get a chance to go back there again. I do have some medical issues that will eventually prevent me from traveling. I want to take my kids and see my old stomping grounds, and take them up into the Gila National Forest in Grant County, New Mexico, where I spent a lot of time as a kid, and show them the things that I used to do, and the things that my dad used to take me to do, and whatnot. So the ideal perfect contract for me would be something in El Paso. Now, getting an X-ray license for Texas is not a short thing, nor is it cheap, but it'll have to again be that perfect storm where I can take my kids and take my entire family, you know, dogs included, and just see my family that's out there still, and, you know, take my kids up into the mountains and take my boy fishing at the lakes I used to fish at, you know, that kind of thing.